Hello patrons, this is Megan and I am back today with my first layout for January. I know you have all probably been wondering where the heck I have been. I don't even know. This month has totally gotten away from me, so I apologize. But here today I am going to be scrapbooking these photos of Tinian. This was back in I think this is January or February of 2018, and he got strep throat and it was really, really bad. He was sick for like a whole week straight and he missed a whole week of school, and it was kind of crazy. So I thought, because he was one of my first kids ever to get strep throat, which is kind of crazy. I feel like strep throat is one of the things that I always got as a kid. And we were always passing it around because I had a lot of siblings. And so it was something we always had. But for some reason, my kids have never, ever once had strep throat. So it was really crazy and different for Tinian to get this. But he got strep throat this year at this time, and so I thought that it was significant to make this a whole layout because after, 13, 14 years of having kids, he's the very first one to ever have strep throat. It's kind of crazy, right? I feel like strep throat is one of those things that you just have as a kid, but luckily none of my kids have ever had it. So anyway, I wanted to document this, and I just had these two photos of Tinian and I hanging out on the couch, and then him sleeping on the couch, and you can just see his cheeks are just all red and flushed, and he just was not doing good, not happy, not feeling well at all. And like I said, I think he missed like a whole week of school because he was just not getting better. Even after we took him to the doctor and he did, get diagnosed with strep and everything, and they gave him the antibiotic, it took like 3 or 4 days for it to actually kick in and get him feeling better. Okay, so here you can see I decided to add a couple banners to that top cluster. I am going to also add in the corner strips like this, but I kind of wanted to add in the banners as well to that top cluster. I thought it would kind of be a nice little landing place for a little embellishment. So here I'm gonna cut up these papers. I had the hardest time cutting up the papers because they were 6 by 8, and so I couldn't just like cut a whole strip. I had to measure it, and they weren't working out. So it's like I would cut a strip and it wouldn't work, and then I would cut another one and it wouldn't work, and so I kind of had to play around with the sizing of the papers and everything. And I'm telling you, triangles and just odd shapes are not my forte in scrapbooking. I love the way they look, but it just doesn't work very well for me. So here you can see I'm kind of struggling with this diagonally striped pink paper, and in the end I am going to use it, but I'm going to just cover up the bottom part of that paper so you don't see it, because I just couldn't get it to work right. Now I'm going to glue down the papers, and then I'm going to glue down the banners on top of that to cover up that strip that the paper didn't get down to. And I really, really like how that looks and how that turns out with those banners and the corner pattern papers. Now I'm going to glue down these papers down in the corner, and then I'm going to work on the photos and the embellishments down there. And this layout actually, I guess you could say it has 3 clusters, but the bottom cluster kind of melds into one. Melds, is that a word? It kind of molds into one. Does that make sense? Anyway, kind of becomes just one big cluster. So here I'm just gluing all of these things down. And for this, I used a few different collections. I pulled out some frames and just a bunch of different papers from my stash. I didn't, use any just one collection, which is usually how I scrapbook. So I wasn't quite sure if I would like this layout when I was done with it, but I really, really do. I think the only thing that I don't like is the title. I don't like the alpha that I used, but I'm kind of stuck with it now because I glued it down with, what's that stuff called? Aqua glue. So now here you can see I'm just gluing everything down and making sure it looks good to the eye. I really liked this frame, so I'm going to bring that up to the top cluster as well. So I'm adding that frame, and then I'm going to add a banner. I'm going to try to put it up here, but it just doesn't work up there. It's too big. So I bring it down here to the bottom cluster. I'm going to also add this cute little chipboard button. Here I stamped the date, which is February 19th, 2018. And then I'm going to pull out a few more embellishments. Actually, I think the only other embellishment that I use is some enamel triangle shapes. So here I decide to pull out the title, Alpha, and I decided to go with this one. I think I already said this, but I just really don't like it. So I'm just going to make it a simple title. It's going to be called It's Strep. I'm going to move the placement of it around a couple of times, and so I do end up having to glue it down with some liquid glue. Here is where I pull out these enamel shapes. I'm just going to put them right there and in each cluster. I had a hard time placing them so that they looked good. I don't know why, but for some reason, it was just really hard to use these enamel shapes. I don't normally use enamel shapes, and especially triangles, so it was a little different. But in the end, I like how I place them down. I'm going to do my journaling, just really simple journaling right there to the right of the title. It's just going to say, "Poor Tinian did not feel good for a couple of days." And I think that's it. That is really all that I do here. I'm just going to start gluing down my title, and yeah, let me know what you think of this layout. I'm still a little bit torn. I like it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, because I'm so used to scrapbooking with collections that not scrapbooking with only one collection kind of threw me off for this layout. But I really do like the clusters that I created. Thank you so much for watching and for being a patron. I will be back tomorrow with a new layout. Bye.